My job is to figure out if the person across the table is a qualified prospect that will buy, or if they're an unqualified suspect that probably won't buy. And I use terminology like high odds and low odds. I guess sometimes you could find somebody that you thought was unqualified that will buy, but it's a very low odds chance of buying. Yeah. Just like somebody who is qualified may not buy because of something. So there's a high odds, low odds. We're trying to play the game in our favor, right? And what I want to do is figure out for myself, should I spend my valuable time with this prospect? Is this somebody who is highly likely going to buy? Or if they're not, then I need to leave and find a real prospect or get off the phone and dial the next number.
Yep.
I mean, why would you waste your time, Cody, trying to sell somebody that doesn't have need, want, health, bank, or a budget?
Yes.
Kind of a waste of time. So we want to take care of that all ahead of time. So here's how this sounds transitionarily speaking from the introduction to the pre-qualifying stage.
Okay.
So, Mr. Prospect, the reason I'm here is because you had sent this card back. You had requested information about our new state-regulated final expense programs. The reason most people send this in is because they don't want to be a burden when they die to somebody they love and leave behind some kind of final expense. So with that said, what were your thoughts, concerns that prompted you to even fill this card out and send it back?
Yeah, I had some family that didn't prepare, recently passed, and it got me thinking about that maybe I should prepare.
Really? So can you tell me more about what happened with your family?
Yeah, so it was a grandfather heart attack. About a month ago. We had to pass the head at the funeral.
Wow.
Much of the family had to chip in.
Really?
Yeah, he had life insurance years ago through work, but when he left, he didn't get to keep it. And
so
then
he lost it.
He lost it.
Retired. Yeah.
And just didn't do anything else after that.
What was the impact on the family? Having to come up with, how much was it again?
Yeah, it was about $14,000.
$14,000. Wow.
Yep. And we went all out and wanted to make sure that we honored him really well. But yeah, it was tough. I mean, people were scrounging up credit cards and money, and
So it just wasn't laying around.
No.
You had to really struggle to find it.
We did. Yeah, it was a group of us that had to come together just to make it work and figure it out. And it put some of us in some bad situations,
Yeah, I was going to ask
ideal.
you. They say sometimes that money is the main thing that breaks up families. When then somebody needs money and they don't pay it back. Did you find that kind of experience happen with your grandfather?
Actually, it's interesting you bring that up because my brother and I were we were at odds. There was some family turmoil, if you will.
Right, family turmoil. I mean, that's what happens, right? It's not every day that you have to come up with such a large sum of money. It's terrible.
True, and we hope we never have to again. It was not fun.
So seeing firsthand what it's like not having coverage is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what are you doing right now for your life insurance?
Nothing yet.
Nothing. Well, God forbid if you died tomorrow, how would you pay it?
I don't know. I'd probably put my family in the same situation again.
Do you have kids?
Then they'd really hate me.
They'd hate you.
I love how he's repeating things too that he's hearing, right?
Yeah, off scripter.
This is good. No, this is great.
Can we go back a little bit and kind of tell what's going on? This is really important for you guys out there. So here's the thing. Life insurance, and I say life insurance, and final expense, any kind of life insurance, it all falls in the same bucket, right? Mm-hmm. There's typically something that happened early on in life.
I feel like they hear this a lot.
Yes. I would call it an inception moment. Something has happened in their life where they were just walking along just fine, then boom, somebody dies, and they were either well prepared and the person saw the benefits of that, usually that's not the case, or the dead person had no coverage, financial turmoil, all the problems that came along with it. And it set off in motion in the prospect's mind that they don't want the same thing to happen to them if that turmoil happened, or they want to do like their mom did, who was smart, and prepare ahead of time.
Yeah.
And we need to revisit that pain because as time passes, we kind of forget the pain.
Yep.
Because we need to go back to the inception point, talk about that pain, the struggle, the emotion, and then connect it with the immediacy. What are you doing right now for coverage?
Most glaze over it. If they do hear it, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'll do my best to make sure that it doesn't happen. I'll help you today. And then they'll transition to something else quickly. And it's a matter of like minutes or seconds, versus you took your time. You didn't interrupt me. You were sensitive to what was going on. You were intently listening. You were responding and reiterating what I was saying. I mean, yeah, it was, and hopefully y'all saw that and picked up on some of those things, because this is somebody that's been doing it for a long time and does it really well.
Thank you. And the other thing too is, once we've painted that picture of the turmoil and the stress and the experience, then we have to ask the question, the disturbing question: what are you doing for coverage right now? And it may sound like we're pinning them into a corner, but we are. This is not a fun topic to talk about. It's death, and it's the consequences of you dying and those consequences left to your loved ones that really matter at the end of the day, right? So you have to ask that question. You need to be comfortable asking disturbing questions as an agent, because nobody else is going to do this. And this is what is going to sell the policy.
Correct.
And that's why I asked them, God forbid if you die tomorrow, how does this get taken care of?
Yeah, I love that question.
And so we're contrasting that painful experience, and many times it is painful. It's not everybody's well prepared.
Yeah.
We take that painful experience and then think about it in that context with, what if the same thing happens to me? And then I'll go further and say, so you don't have coverage, you have savings?
No.
No.
Not a lot.
And that overcomes that savings objection, right? So we've now we know that's out of the way. So think about your kids. If you died and it was $14,000 a day, everything goes up, might be higher in the future. How would they pay for it? Are they financially ready?
Definitely not.
So we're making it, and this is this is the need and want part of the pre-qualifying section. We get to the cornerstone of what drives that person and their urgency to buy today, by relating it to something in the past and thinking about their loved ones, because ultimately life insurance is a purchase based off of love for somebody else other than yourself.
Yep.
Another term we like to use, we have to help the client picture the hearse backed up against the front porch, right? This is all what we're doing here. Right? One more thing. I'm sorry. I have so much to say, Cody.
This is great.
Make sure you're doing, and this is something I've started implementing into my scripting with my guys and gals, is clarifying questions. You notice when we were talking back and forth, I'm like, they hated it.
Yeah, I caught that.
Right. Or I'll say things like, okay, so what I'm hearing here is you're saying that your grandpa wasn't prepared. And when you make sure that you say that you understand them and you feed back what they said, people feel understood. They feel like, this guy understands me. He understands my pain. And if you can get somebody to feel that way, they'll buy anything from you. So that's why you got to make sure, even though if you may understand it, you want to make sure they understand you understand it.
Yes.
So from there, what we'll do is, once we've kind of talked about them not being prepared and the consequences of it, then we'll summarize and say, so Cody, so let me make sure I'm understanding this. The reason you sent this card in is because you know you need coverage. You've lived through your grandfather dying. You saw the consequences of not being financially prepared. You love your children, and you don't want them to go through the same thing. Does that all sound correct?
That is accurate. Yes, sir.
Correct?
Correct.
Perfect. So this is a trial close. I would call this trial close, right?
Yes.
So what we want to do throughout the presentation is to make sure we're on the same page with each other. Like, I don't want to leave behind something important. So this is my opportunity to make sure, again, that they know I understand them, but also that we're on the same page.
Welcome back to the CA Power Players Podcast. We've had the Mr. David Duford back in Springfield, Mo, in the studio. Dave, welcome back to the
Greetings and salutations.
Dude, I love spending time with you, man.
Well, thank you. I do too.
I really do.
It's fun. You're such a great host. We've had such a nice time. Chipotle a couple times.
Yeah, man.